That little Apple event, yeah, we got opinions. The bots are back, plus your calls loaded, queued up, and ready to boot up the show coming up next.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, mail, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip, unzip it, lock it, fill it, call it, find it, view it, code it, jam, unlock it, surf it, scroll it, pause it, click it, cross it, crack it, switch, update it, name it, read it, tune it, print it, scan it, send it, fax, rename it, touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, start, format it, Technologic.
Live from studios in South Hall on the beautiful campus of Jacksonville State University, it's the Hey Techies Show. Now, here are your hosts in chairs that should have been thrown out years ago, Michael, Bruce, and the Guru.
Welcome to the
See, I wasn't going to start out with that, Smarty Pants.
I was trying to get you. Well, welcome into the Hey Techie Show.
Yeah, welcome into Bruce's Hey Techie Show.
Yeah, exactly.
Bruce he's definitely not on the decaf tonight. He is
I've
hyper and wired.
I have had a lot of coffee today.
This week, Michael, we're doomed.
It has been a long week. We said last week was Revenge of the Mondays.
Yeah.
I think we got a Revenge of the Monday and Tuesdays of the Irma.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It was quiet, so there's still plenty of work to do.
Speaking of Irma, of course, that's over, but
thank goodness.
But of course, we have this other thing going on. Apparently, there's one that hit Mexico, I heard. But then Jose is out on the East Coast. Now, no offense here, but you would think Jose would be after Mexico. I mean, I don't know.
And Max would be
he's
trying to.
He wants to take care of Mexico. That's why he's staying away.
Well, that is a good point. That could be.
He's out there playing defense.
He's looking out for his friends in Mexico, so he's not going.
Max got by.
Maybe somebody can photobomb them outside the studio.
Photobomb them. Oh, is that they're trying to take a picture? Yeah, we've got the Pleasant Valley Robotics coming up next.
It's like
right after we kick Bruce out of the studio.
Yeah, we're kicking Bruce
because there's just not enough room.
There really isn't.
Watch this.
Oh my!
We're watching.
It's live. But if you want to be on the Hey Techie Show, 256-782-5600, and you can be on HeyTechieShow.com is where you can actually watch video of us up live.
And you can watch me acting a fool, trying to jump around and photobomb.
It looks like the audio is still too hot. So I don't think there's anything we can do about it over there. It comes out a different way. We can't deal with that. So.
But we've got plenty to talk about tonight. Tech related. I'm sure Guru's gonna be all over.
You have to go in the settings. Don't worry about that. We'll do
all over Apple.
I'll have to make a note and do some more adjustment. Yeah, I mean, all over Apple.
Focus.
Right. It's going to be that Apple X, that new iPhone X.
Oh, iPhone X?
Yeah, it's that new iPhone X.
That's right. That
and
fancy,
the iPhone 8.
Which we thought the X was the 8. This was the 8 was the 7S until last week.
That is a good point. And then, of course, as we'll cover later in our dose, pretty much all the rumors were mostly true. There wasn't much that...
even though before the show I brought up one, and I was like, hey,
almost everything was true.
For the record, I'm so disappointed that the iPhone 8 small screen does not have dual lens camera.
I can't believe you thought that was going to happen.
I want that camera, but I don't want this large screen.
It's premium price. They're not going to do... You
charge more for the phone.
They are.
They are.
I'm not going to spend $1,000 on.
We'll
the
get
iPhone
to that
X,
in our dose.
Which I think
that's like nails on chalkboard for some people. We're doing it on purpose. By the way,
that is. Yeah.
You would think I would be the one doing.
Well, we will.
Not the Guru.
Plus, we still have Equifax.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
we'll talk about that. We uncovered it last week.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it. I really don't like talking about things until all the info is in, but we will talk about what we know with some disclaimers. It's not getting any better, I'll tell you that, though. And then we'll also kind of talk about some of the other firms taking advantage of Equifax's mishap.
Well, there we go.
All for the
We will
have the money song queued
our
up.
dose will. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I got it always handy.
Okay. They're taking advantage of it.
Yes, our dose will be scrunched a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to jump around a lot.
Yeah, we will plan on doing that.
I've got some breaking news. I'll say it for our dose with me and Apple.
Oh, my. Okay.
That's a tease now. You got to stay tuned for our dose.
Yeah, the tease is he's done.
No, I'm not.
That's the breaking news. The breaking news is he's going to go get a Windows phone. If he can find, one.
If I could, no, that's not the tease.
But hey, the good news is that in the Apple phone is patched for the Bluetooth thing. So
that's right.
But I think part of the reason the Windows phone is patched, nobody can find one to know whether or not it's got. Yeah, we're assuming it's got.
Nobody has so it's not vulnerable.
There's always 5 people with it. We're not worried about those 5 people.
Right. I think it's still 12.
Still 12.
Well, actually, it's 11 because we know one that traded that had to get rid of his. Yeah. So
he's still got it in the drawer.
That's true. He's still hoping.
He's like, one day they'll bring this baby back.
Oh my goodness! But if you want to be on the show, we gave you the number. You know the number. If you would like to forgo that and you actually want to send an email, that'll be questions@heytechieshow.com.
And if you can also come beat on the glass of the studio.
You could do that.
And if you're like me, when you're listening to the radio and they say call us, and they've only said the number once, the number's 256-782-5600. And I know I just said it, but I'll say it again because
256-782-5600.
Because when I'm listening to the radio, I'm like, what? Wait, what? What's the number? What's the number?
What's the
number?
And
you're driving.
What's the number?
Yeah, and Guru,
I can't remember.
Guru will pull the phone down in a little bit, and we'll be able to see.
Well, thank you for reminding me.
That's okay. That's okay. So, Bruce, are you doing well?
I am happy to be alive.
And Guru, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Oh, that's good.
It's a bad case of the Mondays today, too.
Bad case of the Mondays today.
Revenge of the Mondays, whatever. I'm just glad tomorrow's Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And we will not be on the air next week.
No, we go ahead and tell that. We will be off next week. We have just too much going on. We're all different areas, different ways. Me and Guru have things going on with band, and Bruce is going to be in parts unknown because we would tell you, but security risks we can't tell you.
Sure can't.
We don't tell our traveling plans. We only tell you when we get back. We're so famous we could, we just would be afraid of the mob that would show up.
As far as you know, I'm home.
Yeah, as far as you know, he's wherever home is.
Bruce is at the house.
No, I'm just kidding.
On the recliner,
video games. We will not be with you.
Say
next
maybe
week.
The video game show will go 2 hours next week.
Well, that's true. I could tell them they could go
longer.
Challenge
presented.
Yeah. Arcade Fire.
Yeah,
let's just go another hour. So. That's right.
I really didn't get to hear them tonight, so I kind of hate
Sorry.
That. I wonder if they record in podcast or anything.
Don't know. Don't really know.
They like our sound effects, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they listen. That's
like
good.
Where's it at? Like that one. They like that one.
Seriously, is that the only one we have?
It was last week.
Apparently so.
We have that one too.
Oh no, we
haven't played this in a while.
We'll have some green stuff coming up.
I like that one better,
and that's more than just money. We'll talk
Surely
about.
You can't be serious.
Don't call.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
We have
serious. I am.
I pushed it again. Sorry.
We're gonna have to take that away from you. I'm gonna have to work that.
No. You're not authorized. Sorry.
Not authorized.
No, not authorized.
Man, I've just noticed I have a huge scratch on my watch.
Oh my goodness.
Breaking news.
It's time to get a new one.
And there was a new Apple Watch. And we'll be interested to talk about that.
Our dose is going to be Apple Field, so if you don't like Apple, sorry.
We'll have other stuff too that we're going to get in.
Other stuff. Just listen.
It was a very good Apple announcement.
I don't particularly care. I'm not affected by anything Apple's put out, so.
You should be concerned.
Yeah.
Why am I concerned? About Apple?
You should be.
Because my wife's going to want it.
Yeah. For one thing.
I'm going to say too bad.
Oh.
Too bad, so sad.
Sorry, Miss Bruce. You can't have your iPhone.
She just got, what's the one that's out? A 7 Plus?
7 Plus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's a good phone. And they'll keep that up for at least another 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
That's the good thing about unlike a 4-year-old Android phone.
Yeah. I've said it before.
We know. We've all said it. Except Andrew Ware.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd said that.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a bad phone. It's not a phone I wouldn't go.
Well, anyway.
It's not my first choice. How about that? But it's definitely not not a choice.
When we come back, we will be bringing some guests into the studio here and getting them settled in, and so we will come back and join live with the Pleasant Valley Robotics team. Be right back.
Hey Tech Show.
We're just getting started. Plenty more Hey Techies Show for your listening pleasure.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladica Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show. So glad to have everybody in with us. And, of course, we are very proud to have the Pleasant Valley Robotics team once again. We have had them on before, and it's just a joy to have them on. And, Adam, how are you doing tonight?
Awesome. How are y'all?
Well, doing well. I wanted to bring Adam in first because he has some really big news. He has been named Calhoun County's Technology Teacher of the month.
Millennium too, yeah.
Of the month, and
everybody's so excited.
Yeah, congratulations!
Yeah, but seriously, congratulations!
Thank you.
Congratulations!
And it's a very big honor. I know what it is to be Employee of the Month for something, and it is a good honor. So
is that Mr. July?
It is. Yeah. Well, no. It's now September.
No, but you were Mr. July.
I don't remember what it was.
Anyway.
That's a long time ago.
I don't know. I just made something.
Yesterday seems like a long time ago here lately.
For real, yeah.
Lunch.
Yeah, lunch was a long time ago. So, if you don't know, Adam is a teacher here at Pleasant Valley High School. And he has been the teacher and I guess, more of a mentor, really, of the robotics team for many years now. What's the year count now? This
is year 5.
Year 5
wow.
for you. And this is a big year. Going to be doing some different things this year, some changes, and we'll be talking about that. And we're going to be talking about the fine young men and women we have here tonight. And, of course, I'm going to be introducing them. And tonight with us we have Caleb and Colton and Emily. And we've had Emily's sister. She's been on before. She was part of the team now, and we'll be talking to them here soon. But let me ask you this. Let's see. How do I want to put this? What do you see before this even gets started, okay? And I want them to introduce what's going on, so I won't give that away yet. But what do you see one of the biggest challenges this year that maybe hasn't been, just from a teacher's perspective?
There's one new thing in the game that is the most fascinating thing to me, because one of Best's big ploys the past couple of years is we cannot have anything fly at all, because that's a big safety issue. But this year's game is centered around the idea of fire and rescue, and you can't put out a fire unless you shoot water at something. So this year they actually get to shoot projectiles across the field. So going from the general concept of you got to have a robot that can drive and pick things up,
right?
Now you got to have something that can shoot something, and that's territory that we've never seen or gone to before.
It's a whole nother element that you've never had to deal with before.
Okay. Well, what I want to do here now is I want to meet Emily. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Good. Now, what is your role here on the robotics team?
I'm head of marketing.
You're head of marketing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what does that entail?
Well, I'm just going to tell you what we do on marketing.
Sure.
We fundraise to get sponsorships, and like we get their name out there too, and then we have social media to make the our community more like how do you put it? To bring our community in and make it more user friendly, so they can like see what we're doing, and like I guess what I'm trying to say is bring the community into our perspective of Raider Robotics, and so follow us on our social medias there at Raider Robotics. Also, we have a website that shows you everything that we're doing throughout the season.
Okay. Now, you have to get out into the community and actually find sponsorship? Is that how that is? It just you or
no? I have a team behind me, and they help me.
Okay. All right. So who do we got next? Move this mic a little bit. We just kind of shift mics around. This is the way it goes.
I'm Colton Charles.
You're Colton.
I'm with the. I'm the chief building executive officer.
Okay, so give us a little heads up. What is the chief building?
I'm just basically over the robot. I get my team part to design me out a robot.
Okay.
And to do the team's objective, what the objective of the game is. Like right now, we've already got our base pre built up, and right now, I've got them trying to design me and to design me in a I don't know if I forgot his name.
That's okay. What about what's your year on the team? Is this your first year?
This is my third year.
Third year on the team.
Awesome.
Okay. And I forgot to ask Emily, what's your year?
This is my second year.
Second year.
But with my sister involved, it's pretty much I've been on it the entire time.
Okay. Yeah. And then, of course, we have Caleb. And Caleb, you are the CEO.
Yes, I am.
And what does that entail in a robotics team?
Well, besides Mr. Gooseby, I got to check over everything, make sure everybody's staying on task, make sure everything's going good for us to do as best as we can in the competition.
One of the question for you is, can you keep Mr. Gooseby in line as a CEO? I mean, that's going to be dangerous.
Full-time job, right?
I have no control over what he does. He gets paid for this.
Correct, right.
So it's really like his area of expertise.
Right. Well, just keep him away from the pit stall. When you go, make sure you keep him away from that area because he might get in trouble. We know how sly he is. He may sneak a tool out of another team's area or something. You never know. So, Caleb, what do you say other than what Mr. Gooseby already said? And I know, but here's what I want to do. You tell us the name of this new game. Do you know it?
Crossfire, is that right? Crossfire.
Okay, called Crossfire. And do you have an objective yet? And we'll let others pop in here too.
Well, right now our main objective is when we get to that field and we see what's the hardest and we don't even go for it because with that it takes too much time. So in this game, there's containers of hazardous materials that aren't just worth us taking our time to get.
Okay. So this is going to be similar in other ways. You've got to go get something. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The game's actually this year is divided up into 3 different parts. Part 1 is you've got a body, which is PVC pipes lying on the ground in some kind of random fashion. Just as in fire departments would not really know what the body's going to look like if they go in to any kind of burning building. And you got to retrieve the body, get it to a safe location, put it on a stretcher, and then you contact emergency services by hitting a button.
Okay.
And you get bonus for how fast you can do that task. And then you got a burning building in the center of the field that you've got to put out by shooting the simulated water towards the center.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got the hazardous materials that you want to get out of the building before they explode. So 3 different components to the game. Each have their difficulty level. And then, of course, like Caleb had mentioned, not giving away a whole lot of our strategy.
Well, no,
we're
not getting
totally,
to that tonight.
Totally not even going to attempt the hazardous materials. Not worth it.
So I'm assuming that's the higher point value for.
Well, it's really low.
Really?
You get 120 points for the body, 180 potentially for the time bonus for saving the body, and then 5 points per flaming debris that you put out. So you can get up to 150 points there.
Okay.
So the hazardous materials are worth 40. So it's just really not.
Just depends on what you want to go after, yeah. It's a lot of risk going in a burning building.
With a robot.
Well, at least it's a robot, not a human.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right,
yeah.
Colton, got a couple of questions here. We're going to get back to Emily, too. Thinking about this body, okay, not giving anything away, but have you already thought about in your mind some ideas of what you might do trying to get a body back? I mean,
I have. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do they, just a quick question, do they allow claws and things like that?
They do.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I know we've done it, but we've done the others too, Vex, and so it's a lot different. We've compared the two, and is this going to be similar? You're going to get a box of stuff, and then you can add to it, but you can only add to certain things, And do you know your dimensions? Are they going to be similar this year? You got to be within a so.
Yes, I think aren't they bigger this year?
It's still 24.
Oh.
Okay, so it's 24.
But
yes.
24 inches by 24 inches by 24
It has
inches.
to fit in a box, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
But now, question, can it expand after that, or does it have to stay in that box?
It can expand.
It can expand
have
after
like
that.
An arm just reaching out, something like that.
Okay. All right. Caleb, what do you see this year? I mean, do you see maybe an arm that y'all might?
I personally don't have much of a say in this. I do have a CEO, but really it comes down to what our drivers can operate the most efficient.
Okay. And Guru has decided he's just going to take pictures because that's what producers do.
That's right.
With his cool iPhone.
My very old iPhone.
Hey. Hey. All right, Emily, what kind of challenges do you see this year?
I don't really know yet because we just started, but I don't think we'll have many problems because our team is close already, so I don't see any problems.
How many do you have on the team that you know of so far, approximately?
20.
Okay.
Around there.
So to build and do everything that's going to. And, of course, you have to have a book. What do you call that? The
engineering notebook.
The engineering notebook,
yes.
Sorry. I just can't remember these things. It's been a while since we've done this. And then, of course, you have the display, right, that you have to do?
Yes.
And are you part of that?
I am.
Okay.
So, not to give too much away, but we're planning right now. So.
Yeah. Okay, so the name of it again is what?
Crossfire.
Crossfire, and this has to do with hazardous material, something on fire in a building, and you are going to try to sell your robot to this. When you do that type thing, you're going to say, okay, we got this robot, this is what it does, right?
Yes, and we also in the booth we put how we got our name out there and everything.
Right. Okay. Now, what about, well, my computer's gone to sleep, of course.
Of course.
Well, I didn't power it up tonight. Okay. So we talked about the new twist. Let's talk a little bit about the new venue. For many years, it had been at the Talladega race track. For whatever reason, it's been moved to McClellan. Do any of you see any kind of changes? I know where McClellan is. Obviously, I don't know what building is it in. Do you know, Adam?
It's actually in the McClellan Readiness Center.
Okay.
Which I didn't even know was there until just a couple of weeks ago.
I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
Super nice looking facility. And at the kickoff day, Danny had mentioned that we were changing to the new facility. And he said, when somebody offers up the use of a facility that's that nice for free, you don't say no.
Right. No, you don't.
No.
And that is a good point.
And I know we're close to the National Guard base as well. And our National Guard recruiter at school has mentioned that they're going to actually have several of the military robots and stuff
that'll be
great.
Display super
on game day.
Awesome.
So
that will be super.
That's going to be a cool new addition.
That will be. Yeah. I know the year we got to cover it, they had a welding team. There was you could go over and test your skills on welding. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Now, so this is tough for me because we can't get into, it's not like, I know what I want to do. Any ideas, and you don't have to, any ideas that for a name of the robot this year? You got any you've already batted around? I mean, you could just name a bunch of things, and any ideas at all?
I'll throw one out. Kids just kind of jokingly the other day, because our robot last year was painted solid white, and they called it cotton because the whole thing was farming, and Alabama's big cash crop is, of course, cotton. And they're like, let's paint it white again and put black spots on it. We'll call it Spot.
Oh my goodness!
Well, so that's one name that's been thrown out there.
Save on paint, that's for sure. Yeah, because you probably got white paint.
and so your students are like, man, why is he saying that on the air?
May or may not be the name.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so questions. Let's see. One more thing on this thought process, and this is probably a better question for Colton than it would be Caleb. Because Caleb's sort of overseeing all this, and Colton's more of going to be building. This year, not to give anything away, but just an idea, tracks or wheels, or is you given any thought to that?
I think wheels because it has more traction with it, whereas like something like tank treads, it's just going to keep on spinning.
Okay. So do you know, Adam, if the game playing area is about the same as has been size-wise?
It is, but it's formatted slightly differently. It's always been 24 by 24.
Right.
Or 12 feet by 12 feet.
Right.
This year there's 3 different zones to the field. And anybody that was watching the games the past couple of years, there's been separate zones.
Okay.
Which I think the last year that you guys were actually at game day was with a mining thing.
Correct, right.
Yeah.
And you had different levels you could enter on the field.
You were going in, yeah.
There's a public domain zone that's called the cold zone where there is no fire. And then you've got a hot zone that is strictly for your quadrant because there's 4 quadrants on the field, 4 colors.
Okay.
So whichever one you're stuck on, that's your quadrant to go into. And then there's the no entry zone, which is in the middle, and that's the part that's actually on fire. So it's not safe to enter it, so you can't even cross it with your robot's arms or any kind of appendages that may be on it.
I remember the year we did it at Mall Day, they had a windmill, and the mill parts kept falling down and falling off. It was actually turning. It was last year?
Yeah, we did Mall Day last year.
Oh, that's right. It was the mall. It wasn't the first time. We could only do Mall Day. That was it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to remember these things. Yeah, we did Mall Day.
Now, the windmill was really cool on game day.
Yeah, I'll bet it was.
You missed it.
I know we couldn't.
All those parts were on there working. It was a little windmill that was spinning all day long.
Yeah. I know. It just didn't work out. What about, speaking of Mall Day, when is that this time? Do you know?
It's October 15th.
Okay, so you guys have got about a month.
They give you 6 weeks.
Right.
So 42 days.
Wow.
So they're not going to be able to tell me this. So anything put together yet in your mindset? I mean,
they've thrown some ideas around, and Colton's like, "Give me the mic."
I mean, we've got a base already pretty much cut out, but right now I got everybody just designing something else to add on to that. So
no changes on the robotics part, like the remote or any of the software, right? Pretty much the same.
Yes, sir.
But then again, you know, I think people may not know this, but you got to reprogram this. I mean, this thing's going to work different. So even if you could reuse some of what you did last year, per se, you're still going to have to reprogram because it's a new layout. You know, the drivers are going to practice.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of practice. So yeah, it's going to have things like that. What about?
I'll say this with the practice. Do you set up like a simulated field at the school?
We don't set one up ourselves, but this year at kickoff day, Danny Coleman, that is our site director, he mentioned that they have ownership of that field, and in the past we've not really utilized that to its maximum potential. So this year he's actually going to set the game field up at their home office in Talladega at Central Alabama Community College.
Oh.
And a couple of Saturdays leading up to Mall Day, we can come kind of at our leisure. They're going to be there, and we can go practice on that game field.
Nice.
Just let them know ahead of time.
That's nice.
Yeah, I want to make sure I don't forget that. Danny Coleman.
Yes.
And, of course, there's a lady, too, that works so closely with him.
Nancy Theron.
Nancy Theron. And they were very kind to us, and I don't want to forget that. And we had a great time that time. We were able to go to the actual event.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get there again sometime. I don't know.
We're going to try this year.
But we'll see. But what I would want to get at is I don't want to forget about Central Alabama's best. Make sure that that's clear that this is part of that college. They do this.
Yeah, Central Alabama Community College.
And they do a great job, and I want to give them credit for that.
Absolutely.
And so it was
it's year-round for them.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to put this on.
Okay, so let's say you succeed here. You get top 3, somewhere in the top 3. Where do you go?
The next stage is in Auburn.
Okay.
Which actually is the final stage of the best competition, which is a national level tournament.
Right.
And it's teams from all over the Southeast that are brought in. You get 3 from each hub. It's a 2-day competition at Auburn University, which Auburn is actually one of the major sponsors of the event. And they actually operate the best website, and they're the ones that do all the engineering part behind it. Their School of Engineering there does that. So we would qualify for what's called South's Best, which is actually at Auburn University.
Okay.
Sometime in December.
Yeah. Okay. Emily.
Yes.
In general, what kind of cost are we talking about that you're looking at as far as sponsorship? I mean, what do you have a number in your head you're hoping to reach?
Well, hoping, but I don't we try.
Yeah.
And so really we just shoot for a goal, and then we just try to go as cheaply as we can into getting and helping with our booth. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. Does Caleb help some? You know, he just looks like he's sitting over there.
Yeah, Caleb helps.
He gets on the phone, and he's the CEO.
Yeah, he helps.
He can beat some money out of the bushes somewhere or another, right? Yeah. Do y'all do shirts or anything like that?
Yes, we do. And normally, not normally. We get a shirt for the judges, so they always enjoy that. So.
Well, that's a good way.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's certainly a thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
They love it.
Okay. Well, you got a question that came popping right off your head there, Guru?
So you've been involved, Adam, 5 years. So in terms of size of the team, is this the largest it's ever been in 5 years, or?
It's really kind of in the middle.
Okay.
The first year that we did it, I think we had maybe, I don't know, Caleb, you were on the team, maybe 9 or 10 people?
Not more than that.
So very, very few.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing. And they told us that up front, that this is a whole new experience. You're going to go in, but go in both feet. Don't even attempt to kind of tread the water. Just jump in.
Yeah.
So we did just that. The next year, because we had some success, not anything to really hang our hats on, but
you survived.
We did. We survived, and we kind of had some experience and knew what we were doing. The team grew to about 15.
Okay.
The next year. The following year, we were up to 25. Last year we were at 23, and 23 was just a lot to deal with at one time. So we changed our application process, and we actually had an application they filled out, and why do you want to be part of the robotics team? And then we narrowed it down from there. And we took 20.
Okay, so you kind of tried to limit the number.
And we placed that cap before the applications even started. So people that have been on the team before may not necessarily make the team now.
So if they're on the team, there's a class at school, a robotics class.
Yeah, we do have one.
So it's an all-year class?
It's just a general elective. So we meet every single day for 50-some-odd minutes as our schedule allows. And
do they work on? Do they have after school have to work on it, or are they able to build the robot majority during that class time?
I mean, really, for the most part, yes. We have a cooperating engineer, actually 2 of them, that work with the kids after school.
Okay.
That if we run into issues at school that we just cannot work our way through,
right?
I'll call up one of the engineers, and then they'll meet with the kids, and they'll bring tools, or they'll go meet over at the engineer's house. And
one of them was from Alabama Power at one time, wasn't it?
Chuck Hampton.
Chuck.
He is, and his brother Dan is our other engineer.
That's what's so cool is you got these people in the community. I mean, they work full-time jobs, but they're willing to give up their evenings and weekends, and when they're not having to work, they could be spending time with their family to help these students. That's what's so awesome about this.
And McCarthy Construction.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's been involved for many, many years.
I actually did not know this until kickoff this year, but Tim McCartney, that is the guy that runs it, or runs that company, is the one that actually approached Central Alabama. And he's like, I've seen other universities put this out there. Yeah. Can we do something for our area?
I knew he had something to do with it.
And then he was the mastermind behind putting it all together. Oh. And Central Alabama said, absolutely, we'll back it. And now here we are.
I did not realize that
he was.
That was kind of the genesis of this. And this
is Central Alabama's 7th year to do it, and our 5th to be in it.
Okay. So backing up real quick, I know I'm still in the conversation, but how did Pleasant Valley and Adam Gooseby get involved in this robotics? To start with, before any students were involved, how did you or the school, or how did all that happen?
Well, JSU, through their AMSTI program, actually sent out just this big mass email at the end of one of the school years and said, hey, we're offering some professional development in robotics. If anybody's interested, hey, sign up. We'll have a selection process. Well, I was chosen as one of the teachers that got to go through it.
The chosen one.
While I was there at the session, there was a lady that I think was from maybe a school in Talladega. Honestly, cannot remember at this point. But she said, have you ever heard of the BEST competition? And I'm like, no, because we were in kind of this discussion as to how are we going to pay for this? These robots are expensive.
Right.
And she said, BEST is free.
You're like, check.
She said, they provide everything you need. You just return the parts that are reusable.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to look into this. So she said, here's the contact information. And she gave me Nancy's contact and said, just shoot her an email. She'll be glad to get you involved. And then next thing you know, we're a BEST team. And
wow. Just at the right place at the right time kind of thing. Wow. That's awesome, because just the whole, we've talked about this on the show about the STEM field. There's a huge shortage of people going into that. And this has kind of helped fostering that, especially at the age of the high school level. They're trying to think, what am I going to do for college? It kind of helps at least get some exposure. So is there any other like STEM-related classes that they can take at Pleasant Valley besides robotics?
Not necessarily in our school.
Okay.
But our Career Tech Center now actually has a drafting program.
Oh, nice.
Where they can get in and do the pre-engineering and learning how to do the CAD designs and sketches and drawings. Then, of course, you've got all the building and construction that's going on there, so they're getting that hands-on experience, mostly through the Career Tech Center.
Yeah.
Now, we've got some business classes that are at the school that kind of tie right along with that. And then, of course, we've got our typical physics and chemistry and any of the science classes that are kind of stimulating the brain and getting you towards that side of the job market.
That STEM stuff's going to require some of that anyway.
Yes.
It's kind of the prerequisite stuff. So,
well, when we come back, we will ask some of the students some questions that I want to kind of wrap up on, and we'll move on. But it's wonderful to have the Pleasant Valley Robotics team with us.
Absolutely.
Be right back.
Don't go anywhere. There's more in the queue lined up just for you.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladica Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
You're listening to the Hey Techies Show on WLJS Jacksonville.
Welcome back into the Hey Techies Show. So glad to have everybody in. And if you wanted to be on the show with us, 256-782-5600. And you can be on. And we will, if we catch your call over here with my eye while I'm actually trying to come up with good questions for these excellent students and teacher Adam, we may put you on. So anyway, what did you have, Guru? You look like you were fixing to say something.
I was about to say, you can email us questions at heytechieshow.com if you don't want to actually call in and be on the air with us. Just email us the questions as well.
And these fine young men and woman is here with Adam on the internet and on our website. So heytechieshow.com, and you can actually see them for whatever. They can't see them too well, unfortunately. The camera's not perfect, but hey, you'll be able to hear them anyway. So got a question to run down the gamut here. I'm going to start with Emily here. Ladies first, right, guys? That's always good. So what made you want to do robotics?
Well, it started with my sister. I saw her come home and have all the robotics things laid out on the table because that's where she does her work. And it just caught my eye, and I just loved it ever since. Like, getting out there, spreading your name, and, like, getting people involved. I don't know. I just liked it. And so I was like, let me do that. So I took robotics last year under Hannah Jenkins, and she was here last year. And she taught me the ropes and how to do it, and I'm here.
Okay. All right. What about you over there in the corner, Caleb?
Well, me, it started in 7th grade, and my aunt had just switched to Amsty, and she met Mr. Gooseby through that, and she was like, hey, they're starting a robotics program up at the high school. You should give that a shot. And I did robotics in the Calhoun County Gifted program with John Moore for a little bit. And so that sparked my interest in it, and from there I've just been going on through it.
What do you enjoy the most?
I really like the people. You get to meet some nice people and stuff. Mr. Gooseby's become a really close friend through that. And always at game day is the best ever. It's a long day, but it's very entertaining.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Colton?
Well, I was towards the end of my 9th grade year. I was picking up my electives. I couldn't really decide. And I didn't even know robotics even existed until my in that 9th grade year. I listed it, and I knew one of my other friends, Bradley Nutt. He graduated last year. Yeah. And then I just kind of hung around him. And then past 2 years, I just kind of sparking interest, and now I'm here.
Wow. And how many are all 20 pretty much helping to build the robot, or you've sort of broken them off in groups?
We got about 4 groups, I think.
Okay.
Marketing.
There's spirit team this year, isn't there?
Yeah.
And we hadn't talked about that.
We'll get to that because they have a mascot, and we're going to talk about that too. We haven't quite got to that yet. So speaking of that, hey, you've been to a competition before, correct?
Yes.
And you all have. I just want to make sure. Can you kind of give the audience an idea of what it is like to go to a competition in your best words?
Really, it's long. It takes up most of the day.
What's that?
Organized chaos.
Organized chaos.
That's our perfect definition of best game day.
But now there are bands there.
It is loud.
There are bands. Some bands are bigger than our high school.
Right.
That's but
we're talking about marching bands. We're not talking about rock bands. We're talking about a group, more like a pep band at a basketball game or something like that. It would be comparable to that.
Yes. Usually our band comes and they help us out with the spirit stuff, and bands are definitely a must-have there.
And then, of course, in the year that we went, there is stands on usually 3 sides, and of course, parents are encouraged to come right, and it's pretty loud. Along with that, I mean, there's cheering. You've got the spirit, where you dance off. I think. I guess they're still going to do that. You guys know?
I believe they should.
As far as I know, they should.
Okay, and of course they have a. Let's see. It's an award for the actual mascot, if I'm not mistaken. They usually pick award. I'm trying to remember these from the year we went.
Yeah, they had the mascot dance off.
Yes,
if I remember correctly.
3 years running.
And Raider Robotics, 3 years running.
Hey,
what's your mascot's name?
Raider Ray.
Raider Ray. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Part.
Yeah.
So tell us about, you have another leadership position, Adam, maybe, or anybody wants to answer this that's not here tonight. So kind of describe that person's role and title and all that.
Well, we created a new position for this season, and we have given it the clever title of CSO, so Chief Spirit Officer, because that's one of our score areas that we have really seen the past couple of years. We need to kind of improve. I mean, we're not doing bad there, but it's a weaker of our points.
Right.
And the best way that I figured, and the executive team from last year said, if we can put someone strictly in charge of just spirit, so someone who is gathering up noise-making supplies, someone who is contacting the band, someone who is contacting the cheerleaders, making sure that we've got the mascot costume that's secured, and handing out shakers and noisemakers and anything else to the people in the stands, going from group to group, wishing them luck. We put together little gift bags that we gave away at kickoff day, just wishing each team the best in the season.
Right.
Actually, pun intended there. And her name is Madison Hayes, and she's not with us tonight. She's also a junior high cheerleader, and they've got a makeup football game tonight. So she's actually there cheering. She's like, I'm not going to be able to be there. I'm so sad.
That's okay. Yeah.
Well, we miss her, but I understand. Got so much stuff going on, and with the weather, cancellations early in the week, it's kind of thrown a lot of schedules.
Has that set you back any? The weather days out?
Well,
yeah,
we've really made
really not really.
Okay.
When they initially said that we're going to be out of school Monday and Tuesday, I went into full freakout mode because you only have 42 days, and they're not going to give you 2 extra because you lost 2.
Right.
But we have a group message amongst the executives and the people that are really our lead builders on the team. We added each other all into a form in Google Drive or a folder, and they just started sketching and submitting things into there. So even the 2 days that we were gone, we didn't lose the time.
Yeah.
They were doing their own drafting and ideas and sketches and brainstorms and uploading all those. So when we got to school on Wednesday, what we would have done on Monday and Tuesday was done already.
Nice.
How long does each match last?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. So if you don't know and you've never seen this, I encourage you to make plans. It's going to be at McClellan this year. Now, what day is that on?
October 21st.
October 21st, and that starts early in the morning, and it'll be open to the public to come see. And I encourage, even if you go an hour, 30 minutes to watch all the things going on. You can walk through and look at the booths. The only place you can't go as just a person is the pit. You have to have access to go back to the pit.
Yeah.
And the pit is basically where they work on the robot. They go through and they prepare. They'll do a walkthrough where I guess that's not the correct word. They all come in. It's sort of a parade of robots. And then they'll go back to the pit if you're not actually racing or actually competing at the time. I'm thinking about a race, clearly. I'm trying to remember this. But the thing
was at the Speedway. So
it was at the Speedway. In my defense, it was the Speedway. That is a good point. But the point is that there is a pit area, and in this pit area, you do what?
One of y'all.
So in this pit is where you put your robot and all your tools and stuff in case something, which we've had experience with in the previous past, breaking down on the game field or something not working right. You can run it back there and repair it. But I think we get 3 pit passes and then 1 for you. And so you can only have a total of 4 people back there at the time. Right. And his works for a student, too.
And believe me, it's strict. We didn't get ours, and they wouldn't let us back there until we actually got them.
Yeah, they had very strict
There was a
security.
little bit of a mix-up as we got there, and they didn't get our security clearance. Now, I had to break.
Not even let them press back there.
I know. I had to break the rules and go over the barrier. Just to get back there.
Michael. Well,
I know. It's real secretive. But seriously, though, let's talk for a minute here. We got a few minutes. Let's talk about batteries. Now, is there still a limit on how many battery packs you can have on the actual device? Is that
one, isn't it's
still
just one?
So there's no backup battery or anything like that.
There is a backup battery, but we should have somebody just kind of stand there all day swapping in and out to make sure it's fully charged and ready to go.
Okay. Usually a battery's not an issue in a 3-minute competition, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably killing the battery more than.
Yeah.
I know we talked about earlier, Best, they provide a lot of stuff for you, but there's still stuff that's out of pocket for the school, correct? Or if some, maybe Mr. Goose.
There's not a lot. I'm
just thinking, do you need like businesses to sponsor you?
We do get them, just so that we have money on hand to buy T-shirts, because of course those are not free.
Right.
And anything additional that we decide that we don't have at school that we want to use in the marketing booth.
Okay. So it's more like that marketing stuff.
And there's a couple little marketing gimmicks that we that we put out that I think Emily would probably knock me off my chair if I gave away at this point.
Well,
but
don't give anything away.
We won't be doing
but
that.
There are some expenses, but they're not required components of the competition. You do not have to have those to do well or to win.
Yeah. And if there's any businesses or individuals that want to sponsor you, how can they do that?
Send us a message on any social media outlet. Our username across Instagram, across Twitter, and we've got a Snapchat. Yes. All three of those, and they're at Raider Robotics.
Okay.
That can also contact the school. My telephone number at our classroom is 256-741-6765. And just leave me a voicemail, and I'll be glad to get back in touch with you.
Okay.
Or visit our school website, and they can get my email address from there.
Okay. We had a listener question come in.
Here we go.
We're talking. What is the hardest aspect of the best competition from each of your perspectives? We have to put on the Jeopardy thinking music for this.
Dun, 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 dun.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I will. Really, the hardest part of this is really tying all of the game components together, because the odds of you winning with just a robot are very slim, because that would mean you have to have the best robot there.
Yeah.
And the number one robot in the competition automatically goes. So really the hardest thing is to make a good robot and make a good booth, have a good marketing campaign, and at the same time tying in everything else, answering all the judges' questions,
Right.
having a good notebook.
Yeah, that's one thing my observation of best compared to like Vex, it's the holistic thing. It's not just about a robot doing a task. You've got to be good at the marketing. You've got the school spirit is part of it. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to it, which, it's more than just the engineering piece.
It's I compare it to more of being an actual business, because
yeah,
you have every
exactly.
aspect of a business.
In the 42-day time period, usually in a business environment, you're given a task and a deadline, and you must perform. And if you're trying to build something, a prototype or something to try to sell, usually like a company will put a bid out there, and you've got to have something to present by a certain date. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a business, and that's what's great. Really good life lessons. I'm almost shut up so somebody else can talk.
I've already forgot the question.
I can, thank you to whoever asked that question. I'm going along with Caleb. You have to make sure everyone is, doing their job. So, like I said earlier, we have a tight team, so we have a lot of trust in our team. So, we're not really worried about people doing their job. We're just having to make sure everyone does that. So, Madison, actually, along with her spirit job, she goes around and makes sure, along with Caleb, everyone does their job, because Caleb is normally around Mr. Gooseby helping out with him. So.
I think the hardest aspect from this would probably be really just getting the robot on and off the field, because about 2 years ago our robot it just caved in.
Oh.
And we took duct tape and just wrapped it around. We had to be on there right after that.
Oh,
so it's very time. What's the word? Look for
consuming. Yeah, sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, duct tape will fix about anything.
And I can tell you the hardest thing from the teacher perspective.
Well, yeah, please.
And it took me a good 2 years to figure this part out. They stress to us when they train the teachers, this is a student-led competition.
Right.
Teachers are only there to really be the adult in the room.
Yeah.
That we're not to touch the robot. We can't manipulate it. We can't build things for them. And the very first year, I got the proverbial scolding on a regular basis as I went into the pit and I had my hands on the robot and they're like, you can't touch it. And it took them actually telling me that to realize, if I'm doing this, what are the kids really learning?
Well, it's so against what you normally do in the classroom.
Yes.
You're in charge. You're leading this. You're the head of the ship, and you're doing a lot of it.
It's really difficult to just step back.
Oh yeah,
and let the kids do it. And now that we've done that, we've had so much more success. And I don't know if that really says anything good about me or not.
Yes,
because when I leave it alone, it got better.
I think that had to do. It didn't have anything to do with you. It just had to do with that was experience coming into work. Because I can assure you, when we were all that first year, and we were just kind of standing there, just kind of
what
oh yeah, do we cut this? Can we use this saw? Not.
Okay, Caleb. what do you want to do after high school? You have any ideas of where you want to go?
I actually do. I want to go to UAH or Auburn because they have really good engineering programs.
Okay.
And plan on being an aeronautical engineer.
Okay, Emily, how about you?
Well, it really doesn't have anything related to this, but I guess it could because, like Mr. Grisby said, there's business at school, and I'm learning to work with a computer. I want to be a respiratory therapist, and I want to go to JSU.
Oh, awesome. Well, we'd be glad to have you. And last but not least, Mr. Colton. What about you, Mr. Colton?
Just kind of same thing with what Kayla's doing, but I'd much rather go to Auburn than UAH. I just like to be an engineer. I haven't really decided what kind of engineer yet, but definitely somewhere in that field. If not, just transfer to the pre-engineering program at JSU and then transfer to Auburn.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those are excellent ideas, and glad you're motivated to do anything like that. Now, what year are you in school? I didn't.
I'm a junior.
Junior.
I'm a senior.
Senior. Oh, you are. So you're close.
Oh, yeah. And I'm in 10th grade.
10th grade. That's right. I knew that. I did ask you that before in the not so green room that we have
yes,
out
sir.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look, I want to tell all of you thank you so much. We've had
thank
Emily.
You so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, Caleb and Colton.
It's been a pleasure.
And we wish you the best of luck. Of course, Mr. Adam Gooseby and his lovely wife is here out in the not-so-green room, and she's been hanging out there with Bruce. Bless his heart. We had to kick him to the curb so we'd have room for these wonderful people in here. But we really do want to tell you how much we appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to come up here. We know there's a lot going on with family and everything. Everybody's pulled different ways, so we really do appreciate it. And we hope that people who listened enjoyed this, maybe hearing their child or however, their friend. And, of course, if you want to check everything out, you can find the Pleasant Valley High School online, and I'm sure find everything that you need to be able to connect with them to be able to find out how to be a part. And don't forget October 21st in McClellan. So, the Hey Techies Show, Our Dose, coming up next.
You've listened this long, so stick around for Our Dose.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. President Donald Trump, along with Vice President Mike Pence and First Lady Melania Trump, visited a mobile home community in Naples, Florida today that suffered extensive damage in Hurricane Irma. Trump handed out sandwiches and said the government will continue to help those hard hit by the storm.
I just want to tell you, we are there for you 100%. I'll be back here numerous times. I mean, this is a state that I know very well, as you understand, and these are special, special people, and we love them.
Irma cut a wide path of destruction through the state, devastating about a quarter of the properties in the Florida Keys. More than 1 million homes and businesses in Florida are still without electricity. A small change to a legal opinion at the Office of Government Ethics could allow secret donors to help pay legal fees for White House staffers. NPR's Peter Overby tells us allies of the administration are organizing legal defense funds as Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation moves toward the White House.
The legal funds would help those White House aides who can't afford Washington's high-priced ethics lawyers. The Office of Government Ethics issued a legal opinion 25 years ago, allowing donors to contribute to such a fund anonymously. But in practice, that opinion was regarded within OGE as obsolete, until now. After a leadership change, the agency just says anyone setting up a legal fund should consult with it first. OGE officials tell NPR the agency's policy against anonymous donations has not changed, and a White House spokeswoman says they're not pushing for approval of anonymous donors. As it stands, federal ethics laws bar anonymous donations from anyone seeking official action from the White House. Peter Overby, NPR News, Washington.
The founder of the Moscow-based antivirus software firm Kaspersky Lab has accepted an invitation to testify before Congress later this month. As NPR's David Welna explains, Eugene Kaspersky says he looks forward to addressing allegations about his company and its projects.
The invitation for Kaspersky to testify comes from the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology. It was extended one day after the Department of Homeland Security ordered all federal agencies to stop using his company's products. The department Department alleged a risk to U.S. national security, saying the Russian government could gain access to Kaspersky products and compromise federal information systems. Kaspersky Lab says the ban is based on false accusations and inaccurate assumptions. The company's founder, for his part, says he appreciates the chance to testify and hopes to do so if he can get an expedited travel visa. David Wallner, NPR News, Washington.
Defense Secretary Jim Mattis is calling the latest launch by North Korea a reckless act. Mattis was at the U.S. Strategic Command headquarters in Nebraska at the time North Korea launched a missile that overflew Japan. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 45 points. This is NPR.
Technologic.
Trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it.
Welcome back into our
dose
of the Hey Techies show.
I beat Bruce to it.
Well, he's still busy. He's prepping for
He's
the
had
show.
a whole hour.
Well, people were out there talking to him, I'm sure. And plus he had to eat his whatever he had, that he had
chips,
some snack chips.
Man, I'm telling you, them putting the card reader on there is bad.
Hey, it's more just a card reader. It accepts Apple Pay.
Accepts,
oh, my goodness.
Accepts Android Pay.
All right.
What is Android Pay?
You don't know what Android Pay is?
Just kidding.
Andrewware?
Yeah, Andrew Pay.
Oh, man. Plus, I was scanning for device.
Oh, my goodness. Seriously?
Yeah, man.
Scanning for devices.
Yeah. So we talked. We gave a little bit of a tease.
Yes.
To the Blueborn vulnerability.
That's right.
New attack vector exposes almost every.
Man, that's
Bluetooth
crazy.
Device. Forget how many they say. It's like I don't know how many millions of devices that they say it's potentially doing. I
mean, I use Bluetooth on my device. I mean,
and you have an Android phone, and there's an app.
I know that
you can download to check to see if you're vulnerable.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is.
Not only will it do that, after it finishes and tells you whether you're vulnerable or not, it says you want to check the devices around you. Yes, I do. So, I generally keep Bluetooth off on everything.
But it connects to my watch.
It does. And remember back a long time ago when we talked about that, I said, I'm not comfortable about this.
Yes.
My phone is not vulnerable. But if you have an Android phone, I definitely encourage you to do it. If you are a Apple user, if you are not on iOS 10 or above, you are vulnerable.
Yes.
Straight up.
Well, most people usually take the latest unless they're on a very old device that's more than 6 years old.
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
But most. You are correct.
I said most.
You did.
I know plenty of people that, they just have an iPhone because that's what everybody has, so that's why they have it. And they're like, it keeps asking me to update. Well, I'm tired of it. I'm not doing it.
I will say this.
I'm just like,
and
there's
I'm not praising Apple for this because I've criticized them this in the past, is they have done some stuff in later releases to try to trick you into upgrading. It'll prompt you like, do you want to install? And you'll say dismiss or no.
Yeah.
And then at some point you'll do that, and it'll pop up your passcode, and you're thinking you're unlocking your phone, but you're putting your passcode in
to give it permission.
Give it permission to do it during like off hours.
Yeah.
I don't like that per se, but they're trying their best to get you to upgrade.
They're trying to protect you.
Wait a minute. I never thought that was tricky. I mean, it always says the passcode's for updating later.
Well, you've got to read, and most people
don't.
Well, wait a minute here.
That's the way phishing works, Michael.
But here's my thing.
I always read,
and I said this to y'all.
That's why you don't get phished.
Go ahead.
I said this to y'all when we were talking about this in our little group chat during the week. Is this the Achilles heel of Android is how the carriers and the manufacturers can control the updates. I know this is not new. We've talked about this.
I know.
But again, I reiterate it again.
Well,
and that's got to be solved.
What are...
Because here's the thing. Android has updated, correct? They have updated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my phone is fine.
But if you're on a older unsupported device, that's a whole nother issue.
It's a whole nother issue.
But if you're on a current device and the carrier and or the manufacturer is holding that update back and you haven't gotten it yet, that's a problem.
It is a problem.
You know.
Totally agree. And I'll say this: that
me and Bruce actually agree on one thing. How about that?
You probably agree on more things than that.
Yeah. But sometimes I just play the devil's advocate.
Sure, right. I mean, that's fun.
Yeah, but
it is. Tons of fun.
And that's one advantage of Apple. They control the whole process, whether you like it or not. In terms of this stuff, they can get that stuff to market faster.
Yes, I agree with you.
There you go. We agree again, folks.
but Google, as long as you have basically right now, if you have a Pixel XL.
Well, that's the Google kind of pure Android experience.
Yeah, if you've got a pure Android, you're probably fine.
Oh, I've got a list, by the way. I looked this up. I got a list. Somebody went around asking who was going to get Android 8 Oreo. They asked companies.
Yeah. And
I've got a pretty extensive list. I can read off a few. Most of the Zen phone devices.
Really?
4 Pro, 4 Selfie Pro, 4 Max Pro, 3 Deluxe, 3 Max, 3 Laser, 3 Zoom. Zen phone.
Yeah.
Apparently that's made by Asus.
When are they going to get it? Doesn't say.
Yeah, they don't really cut. Let's see. Second half of 2018. Jeez.
Good night.
Well, then they're not going to get it. I mean, I'm sorry. That's another.
Yeah, they're going to get it when they get a new phone. They'll get it when they get a new phone.
But they'll have another version out by that.
Those people will have it by then because they'll have a new phone.
Yeah.
I will say this,
BlackBerry, the Key 1. I didn't know there was more than one BlackBerry. Sorry.
I didn't either.
Like you said, Google, Pixel XL, Nexus 6P, and Nexus 5X.
Oh, wow. That's
what it says.
Yeah, the 5X.
Let's see. The HDM Global, which is Nokia 8, 6, 5, and 3.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Honor, it looks like the 6X and the 8.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I just like messing with you, Michael.
Sorry. You're not bothering me. HTC.
Why didn't you try harder then?
Looks like HTC 11, the U Ultra. Let's see. Huawei in this list is the Mate 9 and the P10, if you have that one. It doesn't. Let's see. That says they say sometime in 2018. I have yet to see somebody that. Well, Google was pretty immediate. Let's see here. LG. It says the V20, the V30, and the G6
and the XR 2300. That's not really a phone. I'm sorry.
And then there's some Motorola phones, although nothing I have, unfortunately. The X4, the Moto X4 will get it, but I won't be involved in that. And then the Zs, looks like the Zs.
Well, hey,
the G5s.
I've got a suggestion for you.
I'm not buying an iPhone right now.
Well, they just came out with new ones.
I know, and I would love to, but I can't do it.
So the
OnePlus too, Bruce. The OnePlus as well. It looks like let's see. It says the 5, the 3, and the 3T. And I'm going to move on here, but some more, some of the Samsung, some Sonys, the Xperia. Look, you were curious. You asked. I actually had it pulled up. I did this before the show. Well, anyway, that's the one. So if you have some of those,
just check your device.
We'll have this out on the Hey Techies show notes.
Yeah, if somebody else send me the link.
Real quick.
It's out there.
Back to the Blueborn that I was talking about. The only thing, now, whenever I tap to check the surrounding devices,
I'm listening.
It does not state, like I can't find it in this because there's a ton of Bluetooth devices around me. Everything's green, so everything's good. But the watch, that's really what I'm worried about, is their watches. Because I'm assuming, I guess you have Bluetooth turned on your phone.
Yes, but it's actually my phone's
in the car.
battery. No, my phone battery went dead, and I'm charging it, so it's not on right now. So you can't see. You can see the Bluetooth of this.
That's good.
You probably see my Bluetooths.
It is. Yep, it's good.
I'm glad it's good.
Apple device, low risk.
That's right. The best device.
There's two. Well, let's let it scan a little longer. So yeah. If you are,
what about my watch? Does it see my watch trying to search?
That's what I'm looking for. There's a lot of stuff.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so Blueborn scanner, Android. I don't know if there's an app for Apple? I assume there's not.
Probably not. But it's okay.
Let's see. I think I have.
Yeah. So, but the way it works is basically an infected device. Whenever it goes in and there's other devices that are vulnerable that are around it, it infects it.
Fix those too.
So,
man.
But now let's talk for a second. I read a little bit. I didn't read it. I read it as much as I wished I had. But part of what I did read was that you're probably going to notice this happening to your device if you're paying attention.
That's what I've heard on other podcasts. Mm-hmm. Yes, if you're paying attention. But Armis...
right.
Armis.com, you can go there and see the whole video. They say that it is unnoticeable.
Oh.
So I guess it's one of those, if you're paying attention, you'll notice it. But if you're just probably going about your day-to-day, you won't notice. And another thing, too, like, so I wanted to check this laptop. And I keep, if I don't use a connection, I turn it off. Like, if this thing is plugged in and wired.
Right. I do the same thing.
Wireless is off. Yeah. I mean, yes, it is inconvenient that whenever I have to disconnect and go to wireless, I have to go in and re-enable it. But I'll say this, I have a much more stable connection and a better experience when I'm wired because it's not trying to battle which one to go to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, when we come back...
Oh, man. So much stuff.
We're going to continue, and by that time, Bruce will have figured out if my phone is actually showing up and is vulnerable.
Oh, did you turn it on?
I'm not telling the world that.
And if you're waiting on
you'll just have to wait to find out.
All right.
Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
No representation is made that the opinions of hosts here are better than those of the average tech show, but we think so.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladica Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
Well, just for the record, I figured I was vulnerable.
I see a red dot. Just for the record.
Well, it's old.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that.
I have offered to give you a phone. You just
I've got to go get it fixed.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're not.
Not really.
Yeah, see,
I mean, it's free.
But it just shows that, I mean, these devices, I'm just talking in general terms. You only get a few years at best, and then you're going to have to purchase one or device payment. You get one paid off, and you're going to start paying again. It's just that vicious cycle.
It's almost like it was planned. Obsolescence.
Yeah. Sounds like that.
Somebody planned this
I'll say this.
vulnerability so people would buy.
I know you're going to talk about whatever his face is and what he was saying during Apple's big unveil. I'm sorry to bring this up, but to me, you can ignore everything that guy said because to me that is the problem with America. Everything that, not just the fact, everything that he was saying while they was there. And I know one thing really ticked you off, and it was a matter of timing. Yeah. But I just kind of went through because I was like,
we're going to get to that in a minute.
I was like, who is this guy? And I was just going through, and I was like, who freaking cares about any of this? Like, why are people so fixated on this?
Let's cut to the chase.
And honestly, you're just as guilty. I had to mute my notifications. notifications because I was like, I don't care.
Listen, here it is, and we're going to talk about the Apple stuff now. But I was watching the Apple event at home, and I had TweetDeck and Twitter pulled up, and
Signal.
And Signal, yes. And I was playing the Apple event on my Apple
Love
TV.
You,
anyway.
Anyways, just ignore him.
So towards the beginning, this was the first event they did at the Steve Jobs Theater at the new Apple Park campus, like what they're calling it, the spaceship campus, as people have called it. They got a dedicated theater for these type of events because in the past they've had to go rent out space and everything. And anyway, Apple decided to build their own theater, and they're named it after Steve Jobs. Their
Steve Jobs Theater.
Yeah, I mean,
I think appropriately.
One of the founders of the
absolutely.
company, and Tim Cook got up there at the beginning and said some stuff about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs actually kicked it off when they played something he said in the past.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was very, and of course Tim Cook was very moved by it because, Steve Jobs obviously meant a lot to him and a lot of people at that company. And while that was going on, there was one person in the media, I'll mention their name because I said I would, Paul Thurrott. He is he follows the Windows camp, and he's got that's his thing is Windows and Microsoft, and of course he's going to be anti-Apple. And he used that event to just sit there and gripe against Apple. And I'm fine with him being anti-Apple. That's his thing, and I don't agree with what he says, and I don't agree with a lot of what other people say. So, and me and Bruce don't agree sometimes, but he crossed the line during
yourself.
Paul Thurrott crossed the line during the part where at the beginning where Tim Cook was getting, you could tell he was emotional, and it was very moving for the Apple folks there that with Steve Jobs and thinking back to him, and he's passed on, and Paul Thurrott makes a single tweet, blah blah blah, and I'm like, my first thought, really, dude, you just didn't do that. Did that really happen? And then within immediate, people replied back and were like, dude, seriously? Other people shared the same sentiment I did. And it's fine to not like Apple and want to talk bad about their events and use that as a soapbox to stand on because you can get some attention, and that's all fine and dandy, but don't disrespect the dead guy, please.
Well, another thing.
And whether you like it or not, Steve Jobs, he did a lot in Apple that's kind of steered the whole technology ecosystem, whether you're an Apple user or not. The smartphone revolution started with the iPhone, whether you use an iPhone or not. There's other things, the personal computer revolution. The Apple computers were the first popular, widespread use personal computer in the home.
But he's not solely responsible for that.
No, he's not solely responsible,
right.
but he was leading the company at those times.
Sure, and I was going to say they
and
probably should have done the WAS jobs.
And it's not all about Steve, but he was the one steering the ship. He was the captain.
Just the Steve Theater, and they
but
could
you
argue
don't disrespect the dead guy. I'm sorry.
What?
That's what got on my nerves.
What was worse to me, because I can see, like you said, he's supposed to be anti-Apple.
And that's fine. He can be anti-Apple.
And part of being anti-Apple is being anti-Jobs. So whether you've defined...
But you don't disrespect somebody that's deceased.
I understand that. But when he said something about, I'm trying to find out about this, why are they talking about the hurricanes? That's why I was like, really,
that was
disrespectful. Are you that disconnected?
That was disrespectful, too. I didn't get to that.
If he been sitting beside me, I would have punched him.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I wasn't going to bring it up, but I will now.
Well, that's the thing is people are more worried about what is it that I can go purchase rather than helping their neighbor.
And what Bruce is speaking about is Tim Cook did make mention of the folks that are suffering from Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma.
That was expected.
Their thoughts and prayers are with those folks, and that was very good. I'm glad they did that. But of course, Paul Thurrott had to be a pain. I'll just call him that, and just make that comment to him, like, really, dude. And somebody got on his case about this, I hope you don't lose your house one day because of floods. That's just he's out of touch. That, in my opinion.
But I think that is reflective of a lot of people.
It may be, but I don't want to get into that. I wanted just to kind of get that off my chest because I said I was. So,
well,
it's off.
I'll say
it's
this.
off.
I'll say this. I'm grateful that he can be an independent thinker.
I agree with that.
Even though it's ignorant.
Well,
a portion of it.
Yeah.
A portion. He doesn't have to like Tim Cook. He doesn't have to like Steve Jobs. He was technically, if you want to say that he was disrespectful, then absolutely. But he certainly has a right to be disrespectful. And two things. Number one, you don't have to follow him on Twitter.
You sure don't.
And I don't anymore.
That's fine. Definitely you're right. And I've done that too with people that I don't care to see their stupid, ignorant tweets that I don't like.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is that he certainly has the right to do this just like anyone else, but he doesn't have the right to be heard or seen. Nobody has the right to have any of that publicized. People listen to him or watch his tweets because they want to watch his tweets.
Yeah. But I'll say this.
Or listen to him.
In the past, I followed him on Twitter specifically because he was in the know with Microsoft stuff and trying to stay just in tune of tech in general. I would look for him for information. But after that, I'm done with you. I'm done.
I totally understand. What were you going to say, Bruce?
Don't remember.
Awesome.
Let's move on to the actual Apple event and kind of get off.
Whoa! Let's get Equifax out of the way.
Oh, that's right. We had
before we move on to all the Apple news. So I really don't like talking about
himself
and myself. Yeah, I really don't like talking about events that haven't fully developed.
Yes.
Even though we kind of talked about it a little bit on Thursday,
but a lot of people really didn't know a lot about it. I mean, it was fresh. I mean, we kind of
it was
a little bit of the story.
And I kind of want to go back and listen to see what I said because I think I was still processing it.
I think we all were.
I was like, man, that's.
I mean,
are you affected? Yeah,
you are. I think that's the problem right there. That right there, the mentality is. I mean, almost every adult is affected one way or the other.
Well, it's 44% of Americans, right?
Right.
And you don't want to play the anti-lottery, and say is anything going to happen? But the things I think we didn't know. We talked about the executives selling some of their stock, which they're still, that's still developing. But I don't think we knew about them putting out a website to check,
right?
Which absolutely don't go to EquifaxSecurity2017.com.
Oh my goodness!
That Equifax put out, and you put in your last six digits of your social security number. It's check to see if you're breached. Well, Krebs, Brian Krebs on Krebs on Security actually just put in random information and got different answers each time, and even put the same information on a phone and on a computer and got two different answers.
Oh my gosh!
But why would you go to their website anyway? I mean, that doesn't sound legit.
Well, I know that, and that's the problem too. Why are you going to put in more info? We didn't have your information before, but we got it now.
For crying out loud.
I think maybe we did know about this because I said it's really easy to guess a social security number.
Yeah.
So maybe we knew a little bit about it. They are also giving you the option to sign up for free credit monitoring through their credit monitoring service. 1 year's not enough. Let's make that clear.
Yes.
And why are you going to get them to monitor?
And I'm not the security expert by no means, but somebody at work asked me today about this whole Equifax thing, and it's still developing, like you said.
Yes.
And they talked about the credit monitoring, and I was like, yeah. But the problem is, if somebody's got your information, don't mean they're going to use it the next 12 months.
Oh, it sure doesn't.
In 18 months or 24 months or 36 months.
And we talked about that with the OPM breach. But this is, to me, this is even worse because they have a whole lot more information. And we think the OPM breach was probably, government based. And there's different, they're not putting that information out on the black market. There was other reasons behind that.
Yeah.
So some of the things you need to do. First, if you do not plan on, let me start with this. Don't go sign up for, what's that that company that was super famous for putting that guy's social security number on the commercial.
You're talking about I almost said Simply Safe, and that wasn't it. You're talking about oh my goodness.
Anyways, I'm sure there's people yelling at the radio. Don't go sign up for that. The best thing you can do if you do not plan on,
what is it? LifeLock. You don't think that's good?
Don't go sign up for LifeLock. I'm not saying LifeLock's not a good service to have.
There's another one.
Who knows?
There's probably about 20, but
I think we can go through a history of LifeLock, and I think they were definitely messed over by the three TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Okay. They definitely did shady stuff to take them back a notch, because essentially what they were doing is what you should do. This is what LifeLock was essentially doing, was going and you put a freeze on your credit. You have to call all three of them, and don't, if they try to sell you on something, no, I want it done. The problem is in the state of Alabama, now we have listeners all over. I know our main man Micah, it's going to be free in his state.
Okay.
Their state laws say cost you $0.
Yeah, I know. Got it.
So it's probably going to be $10 for each service, or each whatever we're calling them. So it'll end up costing you $30 to freeze your credit, but only do that if you do not plan within the next, say 12 months to go either get a credit card, anything that somebody's going to have to check your credit.
Right.
Because then you'll have to thaw it, and then you'll have to refreeze it and pay the money again. So this is a good opportunity to push your legislatures in whatever state you're in to make that free, because a lot of people don't opt into this because you're not the customer. Like, the banks are the customer. They're the ones that say, well, we're going to share this information with you, and you're going to share the information you have with us. It's mutually beneficial. And then these companies turn around and go sell all this stuff to all these people to advertise to you, and just beyond that, credit card companies, so they'll send you stuff to offers and new credit card, all that stuff.
Okay.
Before you do that, though, there's only one website you can go. No, we're not going to break.
I didn't say we were.
There's only one website that
Stay tuned for Hey Techies overtime for the Apple.
There's only one website that the government recognizes that is truly free, and it's annualcreditreport.com. Don't do none of this. Whatever you hear on the commercials,
my credit report,
free credit all
report.
That stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, you get a free. You only get it from one. You have to choose one of the credit bureaus to get it from. But go and get it from all three. Save that, print it off, put it in a lockbox, whatever. That way you have a physical copy of what your credit is today, and also make sure that there's nothing fraudulent on there currently.
Right.
Then freeze all your credit. Just if you don't need to go get credit right now, go freeze them.
But if you may need to get credit, go ahead and get the credit reports, but don't freeze your credit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this freezing and thawing, is there a delay? I mean, we know there's a price.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be immediate. So now thawing, you probably have to wait a day or so.
Okay.
But the freeze is supposed to be.
But each time you freeze it, at least in Alabama, you have to pay. Correct.
Well, yes, because the state law only states that a credit freeze has to be available to anyone that is a consumer. Everybody's
available. It's available for $10.
Exactly.
Pay me some money.
So again, this is and the thing is that some Canadians were caught up in this. Some Europeans were caught up in this.
Yeah.
It's not just Americans that were caught up in this.
Let me say this real quick, and then we can move on to the Apple event.
Yeah. So we will have more. I'm sure next week we'll find out more about exactly what happened.
I want to say something about this because I was talking
2 weeks. Excuse me. Thank you. We won't be here next week.
One thing.
It's because they didn't patch.
But because of all this stuff, breaches, and we've talked about OPM and all different ones. This is the latest of many. We've got to sit here as the industry, the credit industry. They've got to figure out some better way of doing this.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's almost like I was trying to describe it to a coworker today, and I didn't really do a good job. But I said, just think of it as like it needs to be some sort of like we have 2-factor authentication, like when you log into sites. You have something your password, You have something you have, a token or whatever. That two-factor. It's almost like you're going to have two-factor anytime you need your credit. You go to apply for credit.
Yeah.
Like you're going to buy a car or buy a house or get a credit card where you're going to have some way of acknowledging, yes, this is legit. And I mean, you're sitting there laughing, Michael, but
no, this is set up so well you just have no clue.
But some sort of two-factor thing. I don't know how you would do that, but I'm sitting.
Well, you're given a pin whenever. This is the problem too. Because whenever you freeze it, you're given a pin that you have to have that pin to unlock it.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the pin is. It's probably 6 digits.
But something. This is going to be kind of a. It's
got to be. I'm sure there's some way to socially engineer.
It's going to be something. Some kind of an extra layer.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to be.
Congress is on this.
And it's going to have to be in place. It's not going. It shouldn't have to cost you anything to freeze your credit, because it's running rampant.
You could have a mark on your forehead or your arm.
No.
I mean, that would do it, right?
No.
I mean, you would have to have your head to do anything, and you really need your arms.
That's too 1984s for me.
You really need your arms. So one way or the other, I mean, that would fix it, right, Bruce?
You can't buy things if you don't have.
Correct, right? I mean,
a head.
That's right, a head. So you got to have that. So that really would reduce some fraud.
Done with hands.
Yeah.
Some type of
negative Ghost Rider.
Some type of chipping system to identify.
Sounds like a possible.
Yeah, I'll say this: if you have a valid U.S. passport and your identity gets stolen, that's a good thing, because it is going to be easier for you to prove
who you are.
Yeah.
What about that star license? What do you call it?
Star ID.
Star ID.
I mean, I guess that would probably help you too.
Yeah, passport, you're better off.
Yeah, you're better off with passport though.
I thought you had to have a passport.
When's my passport expire?
No, you don't have to have a passport.
No, you don't.
To the star ID, you don't. Okay.
No. You can use a passport as a form of identification to help you get the star ID.
That's right. Okay,
which I did.
Okay, I knew there was something like that.
Which, have they even enacted that yet? I think they delayed it. So I went and paid that to have it done, and it doesn't matter.
I think it's coming soon. And I was talking to somebody else about that today too. It's like, because somebody in my family, they were talking about their driver's license was coming up for renewal. I said, get a star ID.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
So what I got to do? I went to the Alabama ALEA.
2 or 3
I went to the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency website. They've got a whole page, list of documents you got to have, and I said, "Here you go."
Yeah, just make sure you have them.
Well, when we return, because we're going to go early here till a little break.
Apple events next.
All your
Apple.
And I'll just
stick around.
Step back out.
No, no, he does have opinions.
Please step out.
That I do. Show. Be right back.
Was there a certain reason that you picked that song in particular?
Yeah, there is.
Is it because it's Apple?
Yeah, welcome back to the Hey Techies show. And yes, I did pick that song because that was one of the songs they played prior to the event.
I figured.
Viva la
Did
vida.
they put it on? Did they put it in everybody's iTunes account?
No, like I pulled the stream up and it was a few minutes early, and they were just playing music, on the stream, and I was like, I haven't heard that song in a long time, and I had it MP3. I was like, I'm gonna play it as a bumper.
I still don't understand.
It's a good segue because we were talking about the Apple event.
I still don't understand their thought process behind. Everybody's getting this new YouTube album. You're getting it. And then you have to.
Hey, YouTube's going to have a new album out. As a matter of fact, they got
YouTube.
YouTube. What did I say?
YouTube.
I did say YouTube.
I meant
rolls. YouTube has a new album out apparently. Speaking of that, but on to
Taylor's
the Apple
got
event.
A new song out.
Taylor has a new song out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tay got a new song.
Lord,
we're gonna keep hearing about that.
Just waiting.
We're just gonna play her entire album one night. We're not gonna have the Hey Techies show. We're just gonna play the entire album, start to finish.
Yeah, we'll play it twice.
Yeah, Bruce will be here.
Yeah,
he'll be jamming out.
In between the songs, we'll mention two things and go back to the song.
Yeah,
Taylor.
We just won't have any video that night.
Sure, we will. Maybe Taylor will be in.
No.
She's coming to. Oh, you told me that.
I did.
She's coming to Atlanta.
She is going to be around.
When is it?
It's going to be the night of the national championship game. So it'll be in February.
Okay.
January.
Okay.
January.
We'll know where Bruce will be.
I don't know.
It's going to be outdoors.
It's going to be free too.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough to get into. I'm going to have to camp out for like a week.
For real.
And they'll be like, hey, we're moving.
It's going to be at a park somewhere over there. A big park.
I'm sure it's at the park.
There's that Centennial Olympic
It
Park
might be
right
at
there
Centennial.
downtown.
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And my wife's not listening to this. She would remind me because she came up. She told me about it.
Yeah, you were like, hey, my wife. Yeah,
my wife was wondering if you're going to be there.
So, I would love to be.
So is Mrs. Michael Sanders? Is she a Taylor fan?
Oh no.
Yes, she is. Don't lie. Everybody is. At some point of Taylor's career, they were a fan. Or maybe they're a fan of a point of her career yet to come.
Yeah. It's
future fan.
Future fan. Yeah, if you're not.
Speaking of that, let's get to the Apple stuff. If I go that route, we'll go down.
I'm trying, guys.
I can see that. It's not going to work.
Sorry, listeners.
Right. No, I'm gonna.
So in case you've been living under a rock, or not listened to any news media, because this has been all over the news. But Apple had a big product event. We talked about it earlier at the Steve Jobs Theater at the new Apple campus. A lot of stuff was talked about. It was almost 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the whole thing, Michael?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Did not watch a second of it.
Well, you were working. I wasn't working.
Yeah, I wasn't working either.
I was busy saving the world.
But you can go back and watch the whole thing. I don't know if Apple's posted it yet, but the Verge.
I think it is.
If they haven't, they will. But they usually put it up on their YouTube channel. Talking about YouTube, but the Verge did a iPhone event in 15 minutes. There's another one I saw was in 5 minutes. So there's some shorter version if you don't have 2 hours to waste. So anyway, so it started off. Of course, we talked about they dedicated the Steve Jobs Theater and all that, but they actually got into the meat and potatoes of it. And she's been up there before, but they're talking about new stores, and these stores are not. They're more than stores. They're community town centers.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, okay, whatever. I'm sitting there like tweeting and talking to you and whatever. But they're putting in new stores. They're putting one at the Carnegie something another in D.C.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we talked about that one day.
They're rebuilding the one on Fifth Avenue.
It's going to have the glass back.
Funny, did I tell you this funny story? Like I went there this summer to New York City, and like I was with a friend. He'd never been in New York. Said we got to go to the glass Apple store. He's an Apple juicer like myself. Yeah. Get off the subway right there at Fifth Avenue and whatever street it is near Central Park, and I'm like, here it is. I'm like, no, it's gone.
It cracked. It got too cold. And,
yeah,
and it got busted.
But they're redoing it. It's going to be better than ever.
Yeah.
So
that's right. It's always going to be better than
that's
ever.
Right. It's the best.
It's the best.
That's right. It's
they have the best glass anywhere.
That's right. It's right down the road from. They got it from Trump. Right down the road.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think this is really important. North Korea has launched a missile.
They have.
Yes.
Yeah, that was earlier today too. Yeah.
Really? But
apparently this is. Let me.
You act like that's breaking news.
No, what?
When what? But
no.
Did it happen now or earlier today?
This was. I'm trying to. 3 hours ago.
Oh.
When I was coming in,
no.
This is.
I mean, you were.
They were talking about on the radio when I was coming in.
Well, this guy's got a timeline, and there's all these places in Japan that I do not know how to pronounce where it's flying over.
It flew over Japan. And
hey, it's crashed in the ocean. Yeah,
yeah, Pacific. Yeah, that's old news.
My bad.
Anyway, back to Apple. So they talked about retail, blah blah blah.
I was reading about technology before the show.
So then they got on to started talking about Apple Watch, and the rumors have been pointing to a new Apple Watch hardware, which did happen. Apple Watch Series 3. But before I say that, we already knew this from WWDC. WatchOS 4. They talked a little bit about it briefly. There's an Apple Heart study they're doing. There's a whole bunch of stuff about Watch. But here's what you need to know. WatchOS 4, September 19th, it'll be available for all devices. So if you've got a Series 1 or a Series 2, you'll get WatchOS 4. That's good. So if you have original watch like myself, you're good.
Right.
But the Apple Watch Series 3, the new hardware, this is the cool thing, which I know Android has this, but it now has cellular built into the watch. It means you can use this thing independent of your iPhone.
Yes.
Right now, if I get a call and I take it, I need to be within proximity of my phone, Bluetooth range for it to work.
Yes.
But with this, if I wanted to go walking, I could leave my phone in my car, in my office, or at home, go walking. If I get a phone call, boom, I can take it. Plus any apps that rely on cellular data, like the Message app.
Sure.
They demoed a couple of them. They showed a couple of them. There's a bunch of these watch apps. Works great. And it says it shares your same phone number.
Right.
But the question I had during it, and I still have to this day, is, and they really didn't answer this, is it going to require anything additional on the consumer in terms of with your cellular provider, or will it be kind of, well, it's included?
So the Bare Naked Ladies had a great song called "It's All Been Done." It's all been done before. Hey, put me back on. It's been done. This isn't anything new. I will say this though.
I'm trying to inform
my
our
understanding. Hey, yeah. It's all been done.
But Apple's never done it
Yeah,
before.
Apple's never done it before.
I'm sorry.
So this is what I think the differences are. One, because I want to say Samsung ran the deal with AT&T.
You said that, but I don't remember it.
I want to say it came with a separate phone number. So this is unique. Maybe.
This is the same phone number as you'll still have to have an iPhone for it to work because you'll have to pair it.
Yes, you have to pair it, but it does have a SIM card built in chip, not a card. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It's a chip built in on the actual device.
Yeah. So there's a SIM chip and a cellular antenna. Everything it needs to talk to the cellular network is on the watch.
True with the other watches.
Well,
Android
anyway,
watches. Anyway, I want to hear that because it's not Apple. They're the best. They did it first.
They are. And they were touting you could stream music with Apple Music and Apple Watch. That's just they're trying to get more Apple Music people.
Sure, that's what they.
Yeah,
I'm
not sold
with your wireless Beats headphones.
I'm not sold.
They'll pay her.
I'm not sold on an Apple Watch. I mean, on Apple Music. Excuse me. I am sold on Apple Watch. Siri will now talk to you on the Apple Watch 3. Before, if you could do Siri, but Siri wouldn't talk back. Siri was silent, but Siri will start talking on Apple Watch 3. 70% faster, 18-hour battery life, so all this extra stuff, but the same battery life of the Series 2 and the Series 1, 18 hours. So you can get through all days, basically. I mean, you're going to sleep some, assuming. 2 versions, $399 for the one with cellular, and $329 for one without cellular, which those are the same. The $399 is the same price as the Series 2, if I'm not mistaken. It's close to it, maybe a little more. Cause I think they have 2 prices, one for the 38, one for the 42 millimeter. But anyway, around the same price, $400. They're keeping the Series 1 for $249. So apparently,
what are we talking about?
September 22nd is when this will be available. So next week, I guess. Is that next week? Yeah, next week. So, and here's the thing I didn't write down, but we talked about this earlier, Michael. All this stuff they've added to the Apple Watch Series 3, exact same size as Series 2.
Yes.
And the little thing at the bottom, the little, I don't know what.
2 sheets of paper thicker.
Yeah, basically same size. So it's amazing. They cram more in there in the same size. So, you want to talk about Apple TV, Michael?
Do I want to talk about the Apple TV?
Yeah.
Nah. I mean,
well, I'll go ahead and say it.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a new Apple TV, and it's 4K.
Rumors true again. 4K Apple TV. One thing was kind of surprising is if.
Sorry.
What Bruce doing over there, but they've made deals with studios. 4K movies will be the exact same price as the HD movies are today.
Yeah,
and there was some rumor about them having debates with the movie studios, so they came to an agreement.
There's only one that's not, and that's Disney.
Well, they're leaving everything.
Yeah.
Well, so I thought about that when I heard
they're
that.
pulling out Netflix. I mean,
no. So I thought about Disney. I'm like, but going back, so newer stuff I can totally understand because there's no cost to that.
Yeah.
It's already there. But for Disney, like this is their thing. Whenever like they're gonna bring out Cinderella 4K, they're gonna bring it out of the vault, and you're only gonna get so long to purchase it, and then it goes back in the vault.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, to me, like this is not shame on Disney, which normally I would be like shame, but this is already their model.
Yeah,
that they put things in the vault and bring it back out.
Right.
I guarantee you, whatever new movie comes out, it's just going to be what it is. It's already going to be in 4K.
Anyway, so and here's the thing: if you've made previous purchases of HD movies through the iTunes store, you'll be able to get the 4K version at no cost.
It's also going to play some more games than did previously.
There's more games,
more interactive games.
Yeah, they're going to support some live sports with some of the different providers.
So they've claimed that for several years now.
Amazon Prime 4K video.
Yes.
Again, some of that probably will be included. Some will be for extra cost because the Prime membership, you get certain ones. And
it does have the A10 chip, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
The previous iPhone had,
iPhone 7.
So it has an A10 chip. Pretty powerful for that little box.
Yeah. So you'll be able to get one for $179. The pre-order is the 15th, which is tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's 15th.
That's correct.
And they'll ship on the 22nd, so a week later. So that's all the kind of the appetizers. Now we're getting to the main course, the iPhone, and of course everybody goes woo. So they came up, and I wrote this as a note. I'm reading off my notes here. They said huge iPhone news.
Yeah.
So let me get ready here.
Oh, he's so excited.
I am excited. I'm fixing to get me a new phone. So the rumors were true again.
Yes.
We have.
We were right.
A further refined iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus. Same size screens as the 7 and 7 Plus, but totally redesigned. All new design. It has glass on the front and the back. And the reason it has glass in the back is it supports wireless charging.
Right.
Again, another rumor.
Right.
Check the box.
Yes.
So you'll be able to do
most of these were
Qi charging.
Yes,
they're using that Qi charging standard, which is
most of these were saying that real quickly. Most of these were saying that a former employee leaked a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
it was disgruntled.
Yeah,
did you know that, Bruce?
Did not.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it comes in 3 colors: silver, space gray, and gold. Not rose gold. Gold. They got rid of the rose. They got rid of the pink phone. They're claiming it's the most durable glass ever in a smartphone. It's sealed for water and dust resistance, which the 7 was as well, if I'm not mistaken. It's got a true tone display, better color accuracy, new stereo speakers. Bruce would like that. This is new design of the speakers on the device.
Time out real quick. Let's talk about the speakers for just a second. You know, I said one of my complaints about this phone was the speaker.
Right. Yeah.
And it still is a complaint. And the 7, what are we on now? The 7?
The new one's 8.
Well, before.
7, yeah.
The 7? Because my wife has a 7.
Yeah.
Man, that thing's so loud. I love it.
It's going to be even better on the 8.
Well, and is
fantastic.
If it'll have,
they say it's supposed to have more bass, so you can hear Taylor Swift. It's
all about that bass. All about that bass.
But are they going to be dual front facing?
It showed.
Yeah.
It showed out both ends.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Anyway, so
it's gonna be
but you're not getting one.
I'm sure.
But here was the thing that kind of got me to chuckle. And me and you we already decided on the show title for this week by this next point. That has a new chip, the A11 Bionic chip.
Yes.
$6 million man,
That's right.
$6 million phone.
No wonder it costs so much.
$6 million phone. We haven't got to the price yet. more. It's 25% better performance than the A10. There was some other numbers that out there. I didn't get them down. You can watch the video to get that. The GPU is faster than the previous A10. The camera is the same megapixels as the 7, but it's an all new sensor.
Yes.
So, better sensor, but still the same number of pixels. 80% more light, deeper pixels, new color filter, It's going to support the augmented reality that they showed at WWDC.
Yes. And they showed it again on the iPhone.
They showed it again. But that's
pretty amazing.
Yeah. Like I said, supports wireless charging with the Techies standard, which they're going to be working with that group that develops that standard to try to keep enhancing it. So Apple's going in on that, which is a good thing. Standards are good. We've always said that on the show. So this is another rumor that sort of checked out. 64 gig, 256 gigs. So the 16 gig is gone. You're going to get in 16 and 256.
Oh, those people can just be so happy that it's gone.
64 and 256.
Right.
Like the iPhone 6 I have is 3 years old. It's the middle grade at 64 because 16 wasn't enough. Now 64 is fine. I can get the base model, but the iPhone 8 64 gig starts at $699, and they go up from there depending on if you get the Plus and if you get 256. Pre-order start at 12:01 Pacific tomorrow, or here in a couple hours from when we're doing
that's right.
Recording this. Will be available September 22nd. iOS 11 will be available September 19th for however far back they're supporting devices right now. So if you're not going to get a phone, you'll be able to get iOS 11 starting the 19th next week.
Yeah.
So that was they spent a lot of time. I'm going through this quickly. They spent a lot of time talking about the 8 and the 8 Plus. Revolutionary new design. Still no headphone jack. You have no USB-C. It's the Lightning connector.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah,
that didn't surprise me any at all.
And there were some rumors pointing to USB-C. I said,
I didn't believe in those actually.
So that stuff didn't change. But then, of course, they used the famous Steve Jobs "one more thing."
Yes.
And as Tim said it, we don't use that term lightly around here. And basically, they said, this is iPhone's been around 10 years, and this is we're fixing to introduce the biggest leap forward since the original iPhone.
Yes.
And they come out and they play this video.
Like it is always.
And they always do this little dramatic video, and it's the iPhone.
Best iPhone yet.
But they announce iPhone 10, or iPhone X as we called it at the beginning of the show. And we're just being funny. It's iPhone 10. I know some people, when we say X, like, it's 10. It is 10, iPhone 10. So there's no 9. But this is, again, rumors checked out. It's an edge-to-edge screen. It's the same glass front and back. It's the same wireless charging. Uses the same A11 chip, Bionic chip. So a lot of the specs are the same between the 8 and the 10. But here's where it becomes different: is it has that OLED display. They're calling it
absolutely.
They're branding it as Super Retina.
Super Retina.
It's a 5.8-inch display, which puts it kind of between the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. So it's not. I looked at the dimensions and I forgot them, but it's middle. It's between those two.
Yes.
There's not two sizes. That is the size. That is the size.
Right.
But that Super Retina display, 458 pixels per inch, the highest pixel density of any device they've done. Again, it's OLED display. The home button is gone. And how do we? There's no. What's saying? Android phones usually they have those buttons at the bottom. They're on the screen.
Yes.
There's no home button.
Correct.
Even digital. To get back to home, you swipe up. You swipe up to go home. And you can, like, if you want to
That's not going to happen on a web page that you're scrolling through.
Well, if you swipe,
you have to come they showed it.
Yeah,
pretty fluid.
And like now on the iPhones, you can double tap the home screen and kind of switch between apps.
Yes.
What you do is you swipe up and you kind of pause midway, and then you can get where you can kind of flip through your apps.
Okay. Well,
hey, real quick, what do you think is going to come? What big fiasco is going to happen with this phone? Anything you're going to call yet? I'm kind of curious.
Well, we've got two. Let
me finish.
Minutes. We're not going to get to the end of the show.
Oh, yeah, wow!
Yeah. So
So we're not going to get This Week in Tech History in. Apparently.
We don't have one anyway. So the big thing though is okay. There's no home button. What about Touch ID? There was all this rumor. Well, the whole face recognition is what it was true.
I know.
They're calling it Face ID.
Yes.
Where you can unlock it with your face.
Apple in their names.
I know. But
iconic.
They showed it. It was really cool. I thought it was, but I'm not sold on it. But it was really cool
with a lowercase I.
But but what's funny though is they get out there. Schiller tries to demo one, and the first one he picks up, it won't recognize his face.
He's waited to do it. I really don't think that was a fail.
I don't think so.
I think it was.
I don't think it was.
I think.
Anyway, we'll talk more about Face ID as we go along. We got like 90 seconds left here, but
oh wow! And it only supports one registered face per iPhone at launch.
But the Face ID is also going to allow you to do animated emojis. They're going to support that, and probably developers will have access to that. Anyway, battery life, 2 hours more battery life than the iPhone 7. So it does all this new stuff and better battery life.
Even though it has a smaller battery.
I don't know.
I think it's a smaller milliamp
64 gig, 256 gig are the size options. Comes in 2 colors. It comes in space gray or silver. Starts at $1,000, $999. So that rumor was true. It will not be available for pre-orders till October 22nd. So you got about a month to wait if you want one. For pre-orders, it'll be available for purchase November the 3rd. And that, with 50 seconds left in the show, that is the Apple event in 20 minutes. We'll have a link to some videos from it, and also Jason Snell with Macworld got his hands on it after the event, and he wrote an article, his first impressions. So you can read that at your leisure. Now I'm gonna be quiet for a minute.
No, for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
we're fixing to all be quiet.
Yeah, we're fixing to all be quiet for a whole week, 2 weeks. Actually.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, we will not be on next week. We're sorry to say, but we do have things going on that just will keep us from that. But
you can still send us your questions.
And you can listen to all our podcasts at HeyTechiesShow.com if you missed anything. Or if you want to go back to last week's and hear last week's This Week in Tech History, since we didn't have one this week. But 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be back on the Hey Techie Show. We really appreciate you listening. Thanks to the Pleasant Valley Robotics team. From all of us to all of you, have a great weekend.